And we're back. What's going on, boys? It's the Run Pure Bets weekly NASCAR Cup Series breakdown show. As always, it's me, Keg. I got my guy Coop with me for every Cup race, and we're in off the bye week. Last week they only had a truck race. The week before that, we were in action. And now we're at Nashville. So first, how are you, my friend?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Can't complain. Betting hasn't been that great this on these two races. I mean, I didn't do anything on the trucks, and then I missed out on Gibbs yesterday. So Allgaier was, really good.
I took the L yesterday. We had Priest on the sheet, and we got it home on the trucks at like 7-1. But yesterday, I threw money on Dinger, and that was my only bet. And then I tailed you on Gibbs once you hopped on Gibbs, and Allgaier, once he got out front, I mean, he just really never wasn't in a dominating position again. And by that time, he was plus 150, and there was just no way to get on him. So I took the L. I dropped about 1.5 units yesterday, but still up about 5 for the week.
Not that I was going to bet, but again, no book was open in the third stage that I saw yesterday.
Yeah. I didn't see many openings either. All right, so let's get into it. We're at Nashville. It's the Ally 400. You and I were talking on the DFS show with Dunkel. There is no track comp here. Nashville, it's an anomaly right now on the circuit because you can't find a true comp, right? Concrete oval, little under 1.5 miles. They say you could throw it in that flat track range, but there is banking in the corners about 15 degrees, and we saw guys using it for sure down low on some of those turns. So there's no true comp. Now, were there any tracks that you were looking at that happened this year, maybe for some comp data? Like, I was thinking Richmond, Darlington, Phoenix, maybe a little Pocono. Like, were there anything that you were looking at?
So the whole debate the whole week's been, is it a flat track comp? Is it a concrete comp? Which comp, is the best comp? What tracks? And I think I'm leaning towards Dover, and concrete.
Why?
I say this, all right. So if you look at the Xfinity race, all right. Yesterday Noah Gragson really talked about, how he's not comfortable on concrete and how it takes a little bit more time to adjust to it. And there's drivers that are good on it, and there's drivers that aren't good on it. So if you look back at the beginning of the year in the Xfinity at Dover, all right, Josh Berry won. All right, he wasn't a factor yesterday because he was in an early accident, but he probably would have been there at some point. Justin Allgaier finished second. He dominated. Ty Gibbs finished third. He was good. Noah Gragson finished fourth. He was good. Sam Meyer finished fifth. He was good yesterday. A.J. Allmendinger finished sixth. He was good yesterday. Brandon Jones finished seventh. He was good yesterday. Riley Herbst finished ninth. He was good yesterday. So basically, that race yesterday finished the exact same way, for the most part, it did at Dover at the beginning of the year.
Okay. So, tires, right? We were talking about that.
Yeah.
They've been an issue this year. And we're still seeing blowouts, especially on tracks this year that are, I think, some comps for Nashville, if there are any. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that this could be a potential shit show?
Yes, it could be. I mean, you had 3 sets of tires in practice. Obviously, they didn't run a lot of laps on the same sets. So, we've seen the tire issues start around lap 30. So they didn't get that far in practice. So, we definitely could see some issues. The other thing is we could see some issues with brakes. They had issues with brakes here last year. So that could be something that, creeps up. But I do think we're going to see some cautions. I mean, this race last year had 11, which for last year was pretty high. So I would not be surprised.
All right, so going into the week, right now, sometimes I like when you and I don't talk about a race all week because we form our own opinions, and then when we finally come together to talk about it, we always put it together right, and we fucking nail it every time, right? But sometimes I do like to talk to you. But going into the week, I thought that Ford and Toyota would be my starting point. And then depending on what I found during this week with practice, with qualifying, maybe some green flag speed data from Nashville and other tracks that we were going to try to compare it to. And that hasn't really changed all that much for me after practice and qualifying, I think, right? Now, I'm interested to know what you think, because for me, I think my big dilemma this week is I don't know what to do with Chevy. I think I have a pretty good opinion on what Gibbs is going to do, what some of the Fords have at least the potential to do. Chevy is a big question mark for me this week. Where were you at going into the week, and where are you when you came out the other side?
So I was more open this week. Obviously, Ford's been really good on track comps, the flatter tracks this year, and they were a big disappointment when it comes to practice. So, I was more open. The one thing I was closed on was I did say earlier this week that, I wouldn't play Martin Truex no matter what.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. And, I've had a 360-degree change on that.
Well, considering that you put him in the grave 2 weeks ago, I mean,
he wasn't in the grave. He had a foot out, man. Kevin Harvick's the one in the grave.
Surprising twist in the movie.
He had a foot out, man. He still had a foot out.
All right, but we were severely down on Marty, to say the least.
Definitely. Okay. But I don't know. I mean, I think this is just a tough race, man, because of the track. You can try to comp it to other ones, but I don't think it's going to be true 100%. But those are things that you can go by. I don't know. It's tough. And then the other piece too, I want to remind you is like we saw Ryan Preece dominate along with Zane Smith, and then if you go back and you look at practice times, Ryan Preece wasn't that good, And then if you go to the Xfinity race yesterday, we saw Justin Allgaier dominate. Allgaier wasn't that good.
I was shocked. Well, to be fair, I disagree a little bit with you, because I thought in that truck race, it was clear it was Preece, Hocevar, or Zane Smith. One of those three were winning the race, and they finished 1, 2, 3, and they almost all crashed each other at the end of the race because they were so close to each other. So I think that one was cut and dry. But the Allgaier yesterday, you're right, man. He looked average at best in practice and qualifying, and he blew the race apart.
I mean, I looked at the first stage when he got up there, and that's when I went on Ty Gibbs, because like Ty Gibbs was in like 8th and 9th at that time, but he wasn't losing any time to Allgaier. Whereas like the drivers second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, they were consistently losing, a half a second to a second every couple laps. So, that's what got me on the Gibbs. But, even at that point, Allgaier was just so much better than everybody else.
And that's something that I brought up earlier on the DFS show. We don't know what's going to happen because these are next gen cars and we're still learning about them. However, if you watch those two races, the leader was 8 seconds out in front at some point in the first two races from the card from third back. It seemed like the leader was gone. The car in second place, if it was good, hung around a little bit. And then everybody else was just a dead duck, and before you knew it, there were 10 cars down a lap. So I think that could that happen today? Like we've seen the clean air on short tracks with this new car holds up, man.
I mean, I think it could happen, but I don't think it's going to happen to the degree that we saw it happen. The truck and Xfinity race.
All right, so let's dig in. Looking at these outrights, we were talking about Kyle Larson at 4.5 to 1 as your favorite, and Chastain at 6 to 1. Those odds are just objectively ridiculous to me. Do you agree with that?
Yeah and no. I mean, I get it. They've got to put somebody there, but I think my biggest thing is when I saw the DK opened up their price, because they're usually the first ones out at the beginning of the week. Like they took the 2 weeks, and I think they really, took some time to examine, trends and what was going on and so on and so forth. And, in the past we had seen, the last couple races where 7, 8, 9 to 1 was the market lead. And then we also saw in those races you could get Ross Chastain at 10, 11, 12, even 13 to 1
right.
sometimes pre-race.
Right.
So I think they really took a lot of time and analyzed things, and I think they made a big shift in some of the drivers.
It's just crazy that, listen, Kyle Larson, he has not been that good this year. I mean
he's been better than what his results are.
I agree with that. But when it comes down to wins and losses, he's just not getting it done. It's my point with John Hunter Nemechek this year. The kid is 4 to 1 in every race, and he has one win, and he hasn't even been remotely in the conversation to win a race lately. But they can.
What these guys did last year was an anomaly. I mean, it's basically like going out and where you have a starting pitcher who went 20-1 the year before, and had 215 strikeouts, and then he's coming back this year and he's, let's say, 6-4. Like they're going to be down on him. So, I mean, the bar that they set last year was so high.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they thought he was going to be God again, and the results are not bearing it out. Ross Chastain, that car has been the best car this year. I can now say that I think the only car that gives him a run for his money is Kyle Busch.
Right.
Kyle, right? Would you agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so but JJ, you and JJ are right when you say he has to be the most fortunate driver this year. Like it just, he has to regress. He has to.
Yeah, you would think he would have to, but I mean, he's not. So I mean, the results aren't as good as what they had been, but the car is really good every freaking week, man. It doesn't matter where they go.
Yeah. Wow. DK just pulled the outright lines down. Only top 3 and top 5 are up right now. So let me go to FanDuel. Denny Hamlin 7.5 to 1. He was 8 to 1 at DK. He's your third choice. Any interest in Denny?
No.
Yeah, I agree. I think he should be closer to 9.5, 10 to 1 personally. Chase Elliott at 9.5 to 1. He has also been a disappointment. We talked about that earlier. And he's getting a pass kind of because everybody's focusing on Kyle Larson. So what do you but you brought up
I have interest. I'll keep an eye on him. I'm not going to bet him pre-race or anything. He does very good on concrete. He wasn't running that great earlier this year, and he ended up winning Dover, which is concrete. So, he does well on concrete. So, he's definitely somebody to keep an eye
on. Marty's 9.5 to 1 now at Fanduel. Kyle Busch 9.5 to 1 at Fanduel. They were 10 to 1 at DK and 15 to 1 at DK. So I have Kyle Busch was fast in practice. He hit the wall in qualifying. They had to fix the car. It's still his original car.
Wow.
What happened?
Did the DK come back up?
No, why?
Because earlier Martin Truex was 14 to 1 on Fanduel.
Yeah, he's 9.5.
Huge number.
He's 9.5 to 1 now. Let me see what he is at. Bet365. He is 14 to 1. So you have interest? Are you going to bet Marty at 15 to
1? Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to bet him at 15 to 1. My dilemma is how deep do I want to get involved with Martin Truex this week? Because I have a lot of interest in him. He kind of surprised us when he come back on Friday and said, "Hey, I'm back. I'm going to continue to race next year." And I think the last 2 weeks he's really spent time with a lot of people that are close to him, and they pumped up a lot of positivity into him because he hasn't been very happy, this year. And then he comes out after practice and he says, "Look, this is the best car I've had all year." And he has a big smile on his face. He's talking positively. And you go out there and you look at his lap times, and, the lap times are good. And, this is a track where we could see some long runs, and that would play big dividends to Martin Truex. I think he's kind of made, a big change here recently with his attitude. And if you look at the 2 races prior, Sonoma, the car wasn't very good, and he's flat out said that. And he, raced it pretty well. The result wasn't what it showed because of that pit stop at the end, but it was much better than what it looks like on paper. And then if you go back to the race prior to that at Gateway, he was really good at Gateway too. So I think he's getting a lot more comfortable in these cars also, which is a big thing. So I think, it's going to be a very good weekend for Martin Truex.
All right, Kyle Busch, he's starting at the back. He was very fast. And I asked you if the car is good enough, you think there's enough time, and is it going to be easy enough to pass that he can make it to the front with some help from pit road? And you said definitely, and I agree. So I don't know. I have interest at 10 to 1. I'll definitely be watching it, I guess, but I'm not going to bet it pre-race. So,
I mean, look, if you're looking for value among these drivers, the only value out there is Martin Truex Jr.
so Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano, they're both 10-1. If Joey has a good car, I think he could stay up there and he could compete. We know what Joey Logano could do. He can always show up at the end of the race if his car is good. Ryan Blaney should have a couple wins. We're 16 weeks into the year. He is frustrating me because he does have a good car. He is a good driver, but he just can't get it over the hump. He can't break through this year. So it's tough to have pre-race at 10-1. I can't do it. Will Byron 12-1. He's been very disappointing since the first week of April. So I mean, he hasn't looked good in a while. I really don't have much interest at 12-1. What do you think about Willie B this week?
Yeah, wait and see.
Yeah. Tyler Reddick, been disappointing. 15-1. I'll pass. If I have to get on him live because he looks good, I'll do so. Like as we would with any driver. But yeah, no interest. Marty, obviously, Coop likes. I'm intrigued by how much he likes him. So I don't know, but man, we put him in the dirt 2 weeks ago. So.
Yep.
Suarez, pass. 20-1. I don't see it here. Chris Bell, listen, man. I expect Gibbs to be good today, and the kid is a monster on flat tracks. So, I mean, I think he could win at 20-1. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he can win. He's due for some positive regression. Pit team's been really bad. They can't get much worse, so I expect them to improve. He's had speed on the track all year. He's just had, issues, whether it's, his issues or other issues. So, I think, he's somebody definitely to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I agree. Kevin Harvick, 25-1, pass. Kurt Busch, 30-1. Do you see Kurt Busch to have like winning upside today?
No.
No. What about Bowman?
No.
Yep. Okay. Bubba is 40-1. He had the fastest car in practice by a mile. Like he was just the best, period. He's starting 30th. He put down a bad lap qualifying, you said. So, like, here we are. If it's any other driver, I'm betting that at 40-1. And I'm betting probably the 5-1 top 5 and the top 10. Like, can we do that with Bubba Wallace Scoop? It's hard.
No. You just need to sit around and wait. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of time. His numbers aren't going to move quickly.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. And
time to get up there.
The last two people I'll mention, Almirola, he's a beast on flat tracks as well. He's 40-1. He's got top 10 upside. And what do you think about Chase Briscoe at 50-1? Like, do you think that he has upside? Okay.
I think it stops at Chris Bell.
In terms of like legitimate winners.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Did you see anything in the top 5s or top 10s that you like?
Oh yeah, definitely. You can get Martin Truex plus 180 for a top 5, which is a solid number. And
Chris
I
Bell.
also like the top 3 at plus 400.
So Chris Bell's plus 250 to hit the top 5. I don't mind that. You like Marty. Kyle Busch is plus 130 to top 5.
So there's a prop bet out there on DK. Truex and Kyle Busch top 5 plus 400.
I like Kyle Busch today a lot. You like Martin Truex Jr. today a lot.
I like Kyle Busch too. I like Ross Chastain too.
Normally, Kyle Busch is like minus 120 to top five. Plus 130 is probably the best price we've seen in a long time for him to hit the top five.
But considering what he has to get through, there's a lot of chance of that, especially at a lower number.
So looking at the top tens, I think there's probably a little value on Almirola at plus 120. But man, I think anybody that you feel is safely going to be in the top 10, they're making you pay for it. So they priced you out of the market there. Looking at the weekly specials, any Hendrick Motorsports car to win the race, yes, plus 150. That's a pass. Any Joe Gibbs car to win the race, plus 200. What's Toyota wins today, Coop?
240.
I don't mind that. I think there's going to be a lot of strong Toyotas today. Any Team Penske car to win the race, 4-1. I mean, they have upside to win the race, but I can't sit here and say that Ford. What is Ford to win the race?
320.
Yeah. So I can't sit here and feel great about Penske winning. Elliott and Briscoe. Elliott and Chastain top five at 3-1. I don't know. What do you think?
I think if you want to do it, I think you take both Busch and Truex at 4-1 and Elliott and Chastain at 3-1, and I think one of them get through. If not both of them, possibly.
Yeah. Busher and McDowell, the top 10, 30-1.
It's odd that they would even have that.
That's a weird bet.
Yeah. They're basically saying you can take Kyle Busch or Bubba Wallace top 20 starting outside top 20 and get plus 650. Those are the only two drivers starting outside the top 20 that have a chance to win.
The Gibbs team finishes in the top 10 is 6-1. That could definitely happen.
Yeah. And that's a little bit better number than what you were getting on HMS, because HMS was like 4-1, 3.5-1 when they were all doing very well.
That's a fun fun little bet that Gibbs hits the top 10 at 6-1. All right, looking at top Chevys, anything pique your interest here?
No, it's a loaded field. I mean, I think Larson, Chastain, Elliott, any one of them can definitely get in there. I wouldn't discount Suarez either.
I think Chase Elliott at 5-1 and Ross Chastain at 3-1 are solid numbers. Like I think that you could take both of those and hope that you beat Kyle Larson, because I really think that's your competition.
Yep.
I don't mind that. Those are, to me, like excellent prices on a group scrape, because if we're being realistic, is Will Byron, based on what we've seen lately, going to be the top Chevy? Probably not. Reddick, probably not. Suarez, I know the car's been good, but it would still surprise me. Bowman, probably not. Dylan Stenhouse, that I'm going to bet that, I think. I might bet that. Top Ford, anything pique your interest?
No. Logano and Blaney are too low. And then, I don't have as much confidence in picking like a combo of Harvick and Amarillo or Briscoe and Harvick like I would Chastain and Elliott.
Top Toyota. I agree. I didn't really see anything in the top four I like. Top Toyota, Denny plus 220, Bush 250, Truex 4-1, Bell 6-1, Kurt and Bubba. So I think value wise, Chris Bell at 6-1 is the best value in that group.
I would agree, but I mean, again, that's even tougher than Chevy.
Oh yeah, totally. I could see like 5 guys potentially, like or 4 at a minimum. So yeah,
I think if you do this, you take Truex, Bell, and Bush, and hope that they beat the other 3.
Right.
That's
Matchups. See any matchups you like?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he said. Oh boy. Okay, go ahead.
So it's already changed. Ryan Blaney was minus 120 against Martin Truex at plus 100. Now it's minus 110. I like Truex over Blaney. Blaney's not good on flat tracks. Blaney's not good on concrete. Alex Bowman plus 140 over Will Byron minus 160. Like, I don't love Will Byron. That's more of a numbers piece. I wouldn't mind going that way with Bowman. Oh, they don't have it. They got rid of. They had Joey Logano at minus 120 against Martin Truex at plus 100. I don't see that anymore. Now they have Martin Truex minus 110 against Will Byron minus 110.
I like what Alex Bowman plus 140 against Will Byron. I mean, like, why not? Like, what makes Will Byron such a better play today than Alex Bowman? That's crazy value on Bowman.
Right. Exactly.
That's the only one I see that I like.
And then group wise, I've already bet this. Denny Hamlin plus 200, Ryan Blaney plus 250, Joey Logano plus 250, Martin Truex plus 400.
So you have already you took Truex at 4-1.
Yep.
All right. So Group A is Larson, Bush, Chastain, and Elliott. That's a tough call. Group C, Byron, Reddick, Bowman, and Bell. Oh, I'm betting Chris Bell at plus 320.
Why wouldn't you put Bowman in there too?
I mean, yeah, I guess at 5-1. Yeah, that's a bet. But you know what? That's basically kind of like. No, actually, it's not. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's a bet. Bowman at 5-1 and Bell. I mean, like, why is everybody expecting the betting market is expecting Will Byron to have a day? Like, when you look at these numbers, why?
Yeah, going back to that other group that we mentioned, I mentioned on FanDuel, that's the same group. Martin Truex is at plus 290, so the plus 400 is a really good number.
Zach said that Truex is minus 105 against Logano at DK.
And then that same group that you just mentioned is on FanDuel also. Bell's plus 300, Bowman's plus 320. So that's why that's even better on DK.
So the two bets that I've seen since we've been talking, 3 bets actually. but in a way, you're getting double invested. So I'm gonna go back and say two bets. The Group C bet with Bell at 320 and Bowman at 5-1. That's a bet. I'm gonna bet that. The second one was the manufacturers for Chevy, Chase Elliott and Ross Chastain at 5-1 and 3-1. I'm going to bet that. Those are so far are the two bets that I like. And for you, where are you at so far? Your favorite bet wise
is the Martin Truex at 4-1 over Bowman. I mean Blaney, Logano, and Hamlin.
And Group B at DK for everybody that's watching. Okay, yeah,
And then,
okay.
Like, let me remind you, like I played Martin Truex once this year in DFS, and I bet him once, and that was at Richmond. And like I went all in on him at Richmond. If you remember, it was him and Harvick. Like I bet the whole world on him to win, to finish top two, finish top three, to finish top five.
I don't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday.
The helmet slept. Truex finished fourth. So it was very good. So I like to pick my spots with them, and I think this is another great spot for Martin Truex.
All right, so we always look at the stage props. Always. Anything for stage one that you see that you like? DK has numbers.
Yeah, I think one thing is you got to kind of hold off on this to see if there's going to be a rain delay or not. Because if there's going to be a rain delay and the race doesn't start on time, more than likely you're going to get a competition caution when it does start.
Right.
So that's going to be an extra, opportunity for the cars to be shaken up
right
at the beginning of the race. Whereas if it starts, on time, they're not going to have that competition caution.
That's a great point. Okay, so first off, unless you know off the top of your head, I'm going to go look. First stage is how many laps and what is the fuel window?
The fuel window is around 70 laps, and I think it's 90 first stage.
First stage is not so. So if there was a competition caution at lap 25, you're telling me that they technically could make it to the end of the first stage?
Right. Definitely.
Okay, so we got Hamlin and Logano in the front, Larson and Elliott in row 2, Suarez, Blaney, row 3, Chastain, Harvick, row 4. You would expect Denny or Joey to get out and then be out for a while based on what we saw over the weekend. Like, at least get out to the point where I would say that probably the car that gets out front leads to the competition caution. There's a chance. So, what do you think?
I don't agree with that. I don't think that they're going to get out that far. Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano were starting on the front row because of the rain. They very well easily could have qualified 9th and 10th if, this qualifying yesterday wasn't rained out at the end. So, I'm not sold on any of them cars at the front. Like, if I'm looking at it, I'm looking at Ross Chastain, Martin Truex, and Chris Bell. Especially if they have a competition caution.
If I'm looking at it, I'm looking at probably Chastain, Bell for sure. And
like I think it's a tough week to bet stage one. Like,
yeah, it is.
It's not as clear and cut from a speed and what's going to
Yeah,
happen.
but you know what? Because of that, I would, if I was going to bet it, I would probably only take 2 shots and just take Chastain and Bell, and that would be it. And whatever happens, happens. If Bell comes in at 15-1, awesome. If Chastain comes in at 6-1, awesome. And if they go down, it doesn't matter. It's a half unit each, and you're down a unit to start the race. We usually make 15 by the end of the race anyway. So, I mean, like, that's probably where I'm at. Maybe I'll throw a little money on Chastain and Bell at 6-1 and 15-1.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's not it's a lot of laps.
Yeah.
On a track that we don't have a lot of data.
So Chastain is 9-1, 9-1, and Bell 20-1 at that 365. That's just crazy. That
is sick numbers.
All right. So anything else? I think we pretty much covered it all like we normally do.
No, I just want to know why do you not like Martin Truex one bit?
Because he hasn't shown me enough. He's shown me nothing this year, actually. I mean, he's looked awful for the vast majority of the year. Now, I did think he was going to retire. He's not. I do think you're right. Like, it could definitely change his outlook. I'll buy that.
For a guy who's as heavy as you on practice speeds, I find it odd that you have no interest in him whatsoever.
Listen, I understand that, like, he looks good in practice, right? But there's been other times he's looked good in practice this year and finished 20th, and he falls through the field like a rock. He does not know how to drive this car yet the way that he feels most comfortable with. You could just tell. He just falls through the field.
You don't put a lot of emphasis on what drivers say?
I mean, yeah, I do. Yeah, I take everything into consideration. Everything that I can find, I take into consideration to form an opinion. And then if I'm right, awesome. And if I'm not, we're gonna make money live.
So you don't have much confidence in what Martin Truex is saying about his car this weekend.
He said that he thinks that this is the best car that he's had all year.
Yep.
Do I think that matters? Yeah, I think that's something you have to take into consideration. Yeah, definitely. But there's no way that I can get to him pre-race. I have to see him not fall through the field like a rock. Like, I couldn't even take the shot at 15-1, I don't think. I would have to see it first. That's where I'm at. But now you know how highly that we respect each other's opinions, which is the only reason I'm fucking entertaining this. And maybe I'll tail you on that group bet, okay? But, like, if it anybody but you, and I'm probably laughing in their face right now, if you want me to be honest about it, that's where I'm at. So, but because me and you have talked endless hours over the last 2 years about this sport, I'm intrigued now. But we did put him in the fucking dirt 2 weeks ago. I would like that to be known going into the race.
Yeah,
so
his foot was left out, and man, I've shoveled a lot of shit out, man.
Coop, somebody can go back over the last 3 months and put a YouTube highlight reel together of me and you literally committing manslaughter against the man's career and reputation based on what he's done. And then they play today's clip and like there's like a little subtitle that says these guys are fucking clueless. Like that could be made. That could be made. So I mean, a lot's riding today on Marty having himself a day, or you just put us in the tank, or we're dead. Our reputation's gone. We're done. So
I have confidence in the man.
All right. It's gonna be a fun show today. Hopefully we get the race in. They do have lights. There are openings between the rain. They think 70-30 we get the race in. Coop's bets and my bets, just to run it down real quick. I am going to take top Chevy, Chase Elliott at 5-1, Ross Chastain at 3-1. I am going to take in Group C, Chris Bell at plus 320, Alex Bowman at 5-1. Those are going to be my two bets, and I might tail Coop on the one play. Coop's bet, Group B, Martin Truex Jr. 4-1. One more thing I want to bring up before we go, Coop. Let's say you and I don't bet any outrights today, okay? Going into the race. Let's say that's where me and you are, and we're going to attack this race live. Why don't we bet Toyota to win at plus 240 going in?
Ross Chastain.
But, like, if we have to get on Ross Chastain, we'll get on him live. And we'll have the top Chevy bet at 5-1 anyway. Or 3-1.
I think Hendrick and Ross Chastain is going to be better than what most people think.
You heard how I opened the show. Chevy is the X factor today. I don't know what happens with them. They could blow the doors off this race. They could be a disappointment. I don't know, right? But like, I feel like it's not
the real reason why we don't bet it is it means that you would have to have some vested interest in Martin Truex.
I kind of feel like it's an interesting way to get a little action in the outright market going into the race.
But I also think it's worth noting, like, we haven't done a lot of pre-race betting here recently because there hasn't been that much value. And for whatever reason, the values have opened up today. Because the last couple of weeks we've talked, like on these groups, like there's been no drivers that's been 3-1 to win a group.
Agree.
And now, we have some where we have an option to pick two drivers in a group that's, 3-1 or even worse. So,
totally agree.
I think, you got to look at it from what value is being offered out there too.
Yeah, I agree. We've been
we wouldn't be betting either one of these groups if the numbers were less than plus 300.
Right. I agree. Totally. We've been fortunate that the outrights that we've been hitting, we've been getting them right and pre-race, and we've been doing really well, even on the sheet. And on this show specifically, me and you have done well in the the pre-race outright market this year. Probably better than we did last year, actually. But I don't see it. I don't see anybody nobody draws me in other than Chris Bell at 20-1, where I'm like, I think I should bet that. So I'm going to hold off. Those are going to be our bets going into this race. If we have any more, they'll be in our subscriber Discord, obviously. And Coop and I will be live with the boys when this race starts, like 10 after 5. I hope you guys crush today. Hope your action runs pure. We'll see you next week. We're out of here.